So, this week on A Brit in Poland, I am in Puławy, which is, it's just over the border from Mazowieckie into the Lublin voivodeship in Poland. And actually, it was surprisingly easy to get there from Warsaw by train. It was supposed to take about an hour and 20 minutes. It took an hour and, about 2 hours in the end, but we survived. And Puławy is home to Poland's oldest museum collection, which was sent to Krakow and subsequently disappeared during World War II. Also, it has this incredible park. It's very similar to Park Romantyczna, Arcadia, near Łódź. And yeah, lots of, let's say, remade or imported historical monuments. And it's a very green city, like lots of lovely green spaces and parks. So I hope you enjoy. I hope you enjoy discovering a new part of Poland. So stay tuned. Dzień dobry, and welcome to A Brit in Poland. This channel is going to bring you everything you need to know about Poland. I am exploring the country, bringing you the history, trying to tell you about the culture, and show you what it is really like to live here. So feel free to check out my other media, Instagram, Facebook, and I will share links to those in the comments. I also have a website, www.britlivinginpoland.com, where I collate my videos for easy to view manner. Also, you are welcome to contribute to my efforts through Patronite or Patreon, and all descriptions are available below the video. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and please come back for more by subscribing, liking, or commenting. Thank you very much. Do zobaczenia. So, Puławy is located in the Lublin voivodeship, just on the western fringe, you could say, quite near Kazimierz Dolny. And here's an idea of the route that we took through the city. So I tried to find, let's say, some of the main points of interest. Of course, you never see everything you want. So the city was actually first recorded as a village in 1489. And it was then, the first record after that shows that it was part of the Konskołowa estate in 1662. However, I have no idea who they are. But then it was taken over by the Lubomirski family. So in 1687, it was bought by Elżbieta Lubomirski as a dowry for her marriage to Adam Mikołaj Sieniawski. It was sadly destroyed in 1706 by the Second Swedish Deluge due to its alliance with Poland. But in 1731, Sieniawski's daughter, Maria Zofia, married into the Czasarewski family, who would then own the village for the next 100 years. And the city during this time would become a center of cultural and political life, actually competing with the capital at the time. And many famous representatives of the era stayed here. I saw the list. I didn't know any of them. I need to improve my knowledge of Polish important figures in history, for sure. In 1794, the Russians destroyed the residence, and that's the way to think of the history. There was basically this really big fancy residence, which we're going to get to very soon, surrounded by a village. So the Russians destroyed that residence in 1794 and then plundered the surrounding villages. Next, we have Princess Isabella. So in 1796, she began the reconstruction, and this included major expansions on the big park that we will be getting to soon. Actually hiring architect Piotr Aigner to work on this. And we'll talk about the park in a little bit more detail, but to go on to the history, so the Battle of Puławy took place in 1831 during the November Uprising.
So they succeeded in driving the Russians out of the city, though as the uprising ultimately failed, the Russians came in and they got rid of the Czartoryski family, who were driven away from Poland altogether, and their property was confiscated. So the Russians then renamed the city New Alexandria in 1842. Though, as a positive, they created numerous scientific and educational establishments to get the city going. In 1906, the city gained city rights, finally. And the Russians and the Austrians finally left the city in 1915, though during World War II, a third of the population were killed because it was quite a multi-ethnic population by that time. And in 1945, it was taken by the Red Army. But we finally get to the park. So Mariinki Palace, where you can't go inside, but it was a residence for Princess Isabella's daughter, Maria Württemberg. There is this bridge that was built to kind of connect the residents across this ravine, which sadly isn't in the best state now. Maybe they'll do some reconstruction on, but it still works. But the park is very beautiful, and actually has a lot of interesting features that we're going to go through. So it's actually like a 30-hectare landscape park, and this sarcophagus was made in Rome and sent to Puławy in 1799 by Adam Jerzy Czartoryski, and it was modelled on Scipion's tombstone. So it's quite hilly, the park, but not too much so. So it's a nice walk, especially in the summer. So this is called the Greek House, which was formerly an orangery and is now a municipal library. This is the Roman Gate, which is actually modelled on the Arch of Titus in Rome, and is visible from the roadside and the parkside. And next you have the Gothic House, and this was built in 1778, 1791, and it was built with lapidary stones from Spain and Italy, though it was heavily damaged during the November uprising, and was actually a bit of a museum of the time, so it's not quite in the condition that it originally would have had its glory, but it's still a really cool site. So you have this statue, again, like a replica of one you'll find in Italy. And this is the Temple of the Sibyl, which is modelled on the Vesta Temple in Tivoli, and actually housed the first museum of Poland, though the collection from that museum would be moved to Krakow and then basically stolen during World War II. As you can see, it's a beautiful area to explore. And yeah, offers some views. So the grottos here are pretty interesting. So they're actually remains of a stone quarry, and the stone that was actually used to build the palace that we're getting to was taken from here. And Princess Isabella hired a hermit to live in these grottos as kind of, I guess, an attraction. And they actually contained an altar as well. So pretty cool. These are the serpentine stairs or ramp, which was just a nice way of linking the two gardens. And here was a Chinese gazebo where they would often go for tea, though not very accessible from the public these days. Some beautiful, beautiful park here. So these are the English stairs, which again link the two gardens. And this is actually one of the oldest elements of the park. I don't know what makes them English. But okay. So this is the Alexandrevsky, or the Yellow House, so called because Tsar Alexander once stayed there. And now we get to the palace itself. So this was actually built in 1676 to 1679 originally, as Baroque by the Lubomirski family. It was burned down by the Swedes in 1706 and rebuilt in 1722 to 1736 by the Sieniewski and Czartoryski families in a Rococo design. Destroyed again by the Russians, I think, this time. And ultimately it was rebuilt between 1785 and 1810 in the Classicist style by the Czartoryski family. So it's a beautiful palace. Sadly, we didn't have time because of the late train to go inside it. There are some lovely rooms to see. I've seen some pictures online. This water tower is actually still functioning as a water tower, but you can only see it from the outside. But ultimately, these parks, they do form the main attraction of the city. But at the same time, it's like the city is full of like little parks and nice features. So we're going to kind of show you what else there is to see. So next, we're taking a bit of a walk out of the park to go to the next feature, which is sort of considered part of the park, but is quite separate. And this is the Church of the Blessed Virgin Mary, which we're almost getting to now. 3, 2, 1, there we go. So this is actually modelled on the Pantheon in Rome. So this kind of completes the set of these classical buildings reimagined here in Poland. And actually, this city was given the nickname the Polish Athens because of a lot of these kind of classical buildings, but also because of the number of statesmen and people who would come to appear. And the number of people who would take summer residence in this city. So, as you can see, it's quite a dramatic view and lots of really cool things to see. So, yeah, you have a lot of like rather nice buildings dotted around. Even though it was quite badly hit during the war, you can see it's bounced back. And it's one of these, let's say, popular tourist destinations at the heart of Poland, alongside Kazimierz Dolny, and I forget, Nibronsky or something. There's another place full of gorges, so they kind of form like a triad. So it is on the Vistula River. It's actually, I think, the third biggest occupied area on the Vistula after Warsaw and Krakow. This was a viewing tower that we went to. Very modern design, and it gave a lovely view of that river side. And last time I had views like this, I think I was in Podlasha, but truly beautiful. And you get a little bit of a view of the city, perhaps not the most beautiful parts, but I always like a good viewing tower, I have to say. So the next thing after, so we've done a lot of walking through the city in this in this day. But next, we're going for food. So we're actually passing a few different restaurants. A lot of them are in this river area. But I opted for the fanciest one, but also to allow us to kind of explore more of the city and also to go to a brovar. I always like to sample local beers. So we went to the Cicerone establishment. So this is a restaurant, it's a hotel, it has a lot of function rooms, and actually they were preparing for a wedding, I believe, when we got there. So we had these really cool sights of this, and here are a lot of happy people, very happy to sit down, I think, after the walk in the sun. And we had lovely food and some really good beer. And there was a terrace at this restaurant where we could just chill, though, of course, we were running a bit low on time, so we mainly just took in the view while people were finishing up to pay. But ultimately, Puławy, it was a really nice day out. I think everyone was quite happy about visiting the city, though the only complaint really from people is that we didn't have more time. Yeah, unfortunately the train kind of messed things up. Maybe we should have gone for like an early morning train to kind of be able to go things at a more casual pace and to see a couple more features. For sure, you know, there's a cemetery, a war cemetery that we missed, maybe a couple of churches that we missed as well. But ultimately we tried to have a good view. So it really makes a lovely day out. So I definitely recommend it. As I said, it's quite an easy trek from Warsaw to go there by train. And everything is relatively inexpensive there. Like, to be honest, like even when we went to the restaurants, the food was maybe Warsaw sort of prices, about 40-50 zloty a meal. But the alcohol was about 12 zloty. And I don't know why there was a double-decker bus there, but it was still pretty cool. So this has been Puławy. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I do recommend this as a lovely place to go in the summer. For sure, it has a lot to offer in terms of both natural and architectural beauty, with that park being a real goldmine of just really cool things to see. Very Instagrammable. So thank you for watching. Do zobaczenia.